But look, it is cut day officially.
Yes.
And the Lions have already began to take care of business. And we're going to start with the offensive cuts.
Yes.
Have there been any surprises on this list? So far, you got, tight end Shane Zylstra, wide receiver Donovan Peoples-Jones, running back Zonovan Knight, wide receiver Caden Davis. And there's some names here that you mentioned yesterday.
No, to be honest, the most shocking one to me was Shane Zylstra.
Bingo.
That was
right on the button.
That one kind of had me almost like fall out of my chair at that one. And I'm assuming that the Lions will carry 3 tight ends. So that means that opens up a spot for James Mitchell. And to me, Shane Zylstra outplayed James Mitchell in the preseason. I think Shane Zylstra offers you something more as a blocker. And to be honest, I would say Shane Zylstra, in both have had very limited playing time, has showed more in the regular season. It's just that James Mitchell, man, sometimes talent trumps everything, because to me, I said it yesterday, I think he's even more talented than Brock Wright. He was somebody that the Lions were really excited about. They got him in the 5th round, but that was only because he was hurt. It just hasn't really worked for him just yet. And I just think Shane Zylstra would fit and be happier with a tight end 3 role than somebody like James Mitchell. It seemed like a match made in heaven having Zylstra as your tight end 3, but I'm not in the building, so I'm going to use the Dan Campbell credit on this one and say whatever he says, and especially when it comes to tight end 3, those are the dictionary definition of first world problems.
Yeah, nothing personal, but is he talented if he can't catch the ball? I'm just saying, like, this one I just did not understand. Shane Zylstra has been somebody that has outplayed James Mitchell in totality over his Lions career. Like, I just didn't really understand this move. I don't know why you're keeping James Mitchell at this point, but Shane Zylstra, it's a shame to see him go, but everybody else was pretty predictable. Caden Davis was kind of a surprise too. Maybe they'll bring him back in a practice squad capacity, but yeah, that's the big one, Shane Zylstra.
I actually, Donovan Peoples-Jones, obviously, after the first preseason game, I think most of us were pretty much still on, yeah, he's probably going to make it. After the end of the preseason, I think pretty much all of us were unanimous that he's got to go. And it's no disrespect to him. Yeah. It's just he didn't necessarily earn it. And boy, do I have a stat for you on Donovan Peoples-Jones for how poorly he actually performed in the preseason. Yeah, because a lot of people were, I think, doing a little bit too much quarterback blaming. And for the record, in a vacuum, I don't blame you. When you're catching a lot of your passes from Nate Sudfeld, I get it. I'm not mad at you. Do you know what Donovan Peoples-Jones's passer rating when targeted was?
Is it in the negative?
Close.
Oh.
Are you sitting down? 1.9.
Jeez.
1.9.
That's terrible.
I think you get a better passer rating if every ball thrown to you is incomplete. I think if a quarterback just throws the ball in the dirt every time,
right,
it's
like
a higher
50 or something.
It's a higher passer rating than that. So yeah, Donovan Peoples-Jones, as we always said, was one of the most maybe the most disappointing player in all of preseason for the Lions. I would say definitely the most for the Lions. And also, I want to parlay that a little bit with Caden Davis. And I'm not trying to accuse Donovan Peoples-Jones as being somebody who doesn't work hard and doesn't have the desire, because he did make it to the NFL. He had a good career at Michigan, and that's a very, very good accomplishment. He has an 800-yard season as a receiver in the NFL, no disrespect to that. But Caden Davis is one of those guys who is 1/20th as talented as Donovan Peoples-Jones. But he seemed like he was fighting for his life out there. He made way more big plays. He caught a touchdown in the Kansas City Chiefs game. He just doesn't have an NFL skill set. So if you could put Caden Davis's will, at least in this training camp and preseason, into Donovan Peoples-Jones's body, hell, you probably have a wide receiver 3. But with Donovan Peoples-Jones, it just didn't work out in Detroit. It just didn't.
Yeah, and you know what? When you look at some of the comments, like around social media as well, especially when we posted that graphic, you see people go like, oh, man, I liked him. I wish it worked out. But so people are kind of already at that point with Donovan Peoples-Jones. We wanted him to work out, obviously hometown kid. Then you talk about the Michigan connection. You talk about some mild success in the NFL. Honestly, that if he could have maybe achieved 2/3 of that type of a seasonal success, it would have been gold for the Lions this season as that big body receiver, somebody that we knew we could rely on what we want in those types of opportunities or situations, or to at least be able to show the looks, and defenses have to be able to take those types of looks serious. Yeah. So it's disappointing from several different angles, because I do believe that the Lions are comfortable going into the season without that big body receiver. But imagine if that would have worked out and you had at least that option.
I mean, you disappointed in the story, but that's what Aiden Hutchinson is for. I mean, just being realistic, man. He is your Michigan athlete that got drafted by the hometown team. He'll be okay. But, yeah, just DPJ, I mean, you can't get them all right, man. I mean, Brad Holmes is shooting 70% from the field, but, I mean, you can't get them all right.
And I don't judge him on kicking the tires. You kicking the tires on some players like that, I'm fine.
Exactly,
because, you know, it's funny because with a guy like Alex Anzalone, you know, when they made the decision that, hey, this is going to be a guy we're rolling with as our starting linebacker, where were a lot of us at that time? We were like, what is he doing, bro? There are options out there in free agency. There are options in the draft. And now we see exactly how that's turned out to this point. So, yeah, you're not going, like you said, you're not going to shoot 100%, but I'm okay with him kicking the tires on certain opportunities to see if we can get a little bit more out of these budget picks and signings.
No, I mean, I don't blame Brad Holmes for trying. I mean, he was a $2 million player this year, or he was going to be for the Alliance had he made the team. It's just, I think with what you've seen out of him in preseason, with the reports of him in training camp, maybe last year's season in which he had 13 catches when he played basically a full year with the Browns and the Lions, that wasn't by accident. I know a lot of it was attributed to, hey, he's coming in new to the Lions system, but he didn't do jack dick in Cleveland either last year. And this was on the heels of an 800-yard season. It's just the fall off. The fall off has been even bigger than the come up, unfortunately, for Donovan Peoples-Jones. And another stat on Donovan Peoples-Jones: last season, his passer rating when targeted, the quarterback passer rating when they target Donovan Peoples-Jones was 39.4, which is also morbidly terrible. So maybe Donovan Peoples-Jones is just washed. It's a shame. He's still young and he's so talented, or at least he showed that in Cleveland. It was linear improvement, and then it was just fall off Mount Everest almost immediately.
Denver Blair.
NFL is a cruel, cruel world.
It's a cruel world. Denver Blair says, should have kicked the tires with Higgins. Should have kicked the tires with 6XL gloves.
I mean, T. Higgins in a vacuum would help this team, that's for sure. You just have to pay him about 12 times more than Donovan Peoples-Jones. But hey, I wouldn't be mad at it. But
there were the rumors during the summer.
Yeah.
There were the rumors definitely during the summer, and it's like, you know what? This is honestly, I think, been my biggest question mark going into training camp and through preseason. It's consistently been the wide receiver room. At every other position group, they made some improvements. The linebacker core and the wide receivers were the position groups where they didn't go and make an improvement. I was comfortable with the linebackers because I do believe that Jack Campbell's going to take that step forward. But we have some proven guys there. What Jack Campbell already did was decent if Alex Anzalone is still that dude. There's still the top linebacker for us. So I was good there. But with the wide receivers is where, we got Amon-Ra. But to your point, and even though I'm on victory lap like number 130 for training camp JMO, he's still unproven. I do take a lot of stock in what he did in that NFC championship game and towards the later end of the season of being something that shows, some chemistry that was starting to be built with Jared Goff. But man, I do sit here after you're talking about the surety of Amon-Ra and the hope of Jameson Williams, hoping that everything else behind them comes together.